ask you to join our bold team as we continue to take this great state forward. A bold team that is made up of not only our families, but yours and our brave legislators, many of whom are in the crowd tonight, and we thank you for your leadership. But one of the most special members of our team wants to meet you right now. She is the best First Lady in the entire nation. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Tonette. Look at him now. Well, we have had a wonderful day, but you know, we want to remind everyone that over the past 4 years, it hasn't always been that easy. But we've been able to make it through with faith and family and friends, and of course, with great supporters like you. We're here today to just say thank you to you for all that you've done, and we want to thank you especially for your prayers. Thank you for standing with us every step of the way. I'm so proud of Scott. He is a hard-working governor that is working tirelessly every single day for the great state of Wisconsin. In fact, in my opinion, he's probably the best governor that Wisconsin has ever had. Welcoming the amazing husband, a wonderful father, and our Governor, Scott Walker.
It's good to be home. It is good to be home. We're just a few blocks from our house. Tonette and I raised our kids right just up the way here in Wauwatosa, and we're so proud to be here. In fact, I think since Matt's going to be 19 this year, hard to believe. Allis will be 19 a month later than after that. And I think since they were little babies, every year Tonette and I brought them to the Wisconsin State Fair, and we've ate our way around the fair. We had our open-faced sandwich over at Saz's where Tonette and I met. We've had our corn dogs, and we've had our corn on the cob that we get from the New Berlin Lions Club, and we've gone down the slides and gone down the rides, and it's just a fun time here, so expect to see you back here in August. But Tonette and I couldn't be more happy to be with you here tonight. And let's give another round of applause for this great today, but I also want to recognize that beginning of the day, my brother and my sister-in-law were with me in Dane, just outside of Madison, but tonight, my mom and dad, Lou and Pat Walker, are here as well. Matt and Alex and I have been traveling the state all day, and we've been pleased to join the Clayfish family, who've been a great traveling partner with us, just as Rebecca's been a great partner for us in state government. So let's get the Clayfish. As Rebecca and I kick off our campaign here today, and as we travel this great state, I can't tell you how much we're thankful for you all being here. Not just for being here tonight, but for being with us. In 2010, we first ran, and unexpectedly again in 2012, we had to run again. I love that three-peat sign. Very nice sign. And now, for the third time, you're going to be with us in 2014. Thanks. Appreciate not only your support, but as Tonette mentioned, we really appreciate your prayers. For our family, for the Clayfish family, and for the many lawmakers that are here, we appreciate all the prayers that you passed on over the last few years. It has meant the world to us, so thank you. You know, coming in here tonight and being just a few blocks away from our home, it made me think back to 4 years ago. Think back to how things were back then. It was pretty bad, unfortunately. Back 4 years ago, things were pretty tough here in the state of Wisconsin. I mean, think about it. 4 years ago, we had a state where we lost more than 130,000 jobs in the 4 years that Jim Doyle served in his last term. Back 4 years ago, we had a budget deficit that literally was over $3 billion. And back this time, 4 years ago, particularly thinking about a day like today, taxes were going up. Fortunately for a lot of us, the future in the state was looking pretty dark. The good news today, though, to tell you is that things are a whole lot different today than they were 4 years ago. In fact, Wisconsin's turning around and we're heading in the right direction. We're moving this state forward. And let us share just a couple of the big things we've done and where we're headed. You know, right off the top of the bat, that budget deficit, it's gone. Instead, today we celebrate a nearly $1 billion budget surplus. How about that? On top of that, we've got a state now where taxes are going down instead of going up. We wanted to reduce the burden on you, the hardworking taxpayers of this state, so that you can put more of that money back into the economy as consumers and employers in this state. And that's really important on a day like April 15th. Because you know, as I travel the state, as I get out of our state's capital, I got to tell you, whether it's here in West Allis or anywhere else across the state I travel, I have yet to find people say to me, hey Scott, you know what? We don't think we send enough money to Madison. People just don't say that to me. And I don't hear on today or any other day, I don't hear people say to me, you know what? Our taxes are too low. Or that our taxes are just right. What I hear time and time and time and time again are people telling me from one end of the state to the other that if you want to continue the economic recovery that got us to a surplus in the first place, the best thing to do is put the money back in the hands of the people who earned it. We understand that you earned it, and the best way to keep the economy going, the best way to build a healthy economy, the best way to move the state forward is to put that money back into your hands so as consumers and employers, you can put that money to work. That's why I'm proud to say that in addition to lowering our income taxes in this state, come this December, you're going to see the property taxes have gone down too. In fact, this December's property tax bill will not only be lower for a typical homeowner than it was last year. This December, 2014's property tax bills on a typical home will literally be lower than they were in December of 2010. How about that? The best news of all, though, goes beyond just the surplus and the tax relief. The best news is that people are going back to work again. Over the last 3 years, we've seen more than 100,000 new jobs in our state. In fact, last year alone, we saw the largest private sector job growth we've seen since, well, the 1990s. You know what? That's great. And we're excited about where we're headed, but we're definitely not done yet. That's why Rebecca and I are running again, because with our legislature, we're going to push forward and put even more people to work by helping the private sector create more jobs and opportunities. Without a doubt, Wisconsin is moving forward, but it's not just in those areas, it's in other areas as well. I think about Matt and Alex, you know, today they've been with us, they had to take a day off from college. We're empty nesters now, so it's kind of nice. We get to go out for dinner occasionally, and it's kind of fun, but we love having Matt and Alex with us today. But when I think about the two of them and others like them across the state, I see kids, I see young men and young women, I shouldn't call them kids anymore, going to college. And thankfully, because of what we've done, first with the 2-year freeze and now with a 4-year freeze on tuition, more students and more working families are going to be able to afford it. son's in college, we can definitely relate to that proposal. We like that. And I'm sure a lot of other parents out there as well appreciate that. For us, it's an exciting time, and it's not just when it comes to families, when it talks about education. You know, there are more families across the state planning vacations, and tourism dollars are going up, and the impact on the state, and places like State Fair, and others from one end of the state to the other. But it's not just in fun things like that, it's in serious things as well. You know, thankfully, because of the changes we've made, there are more families that can go to bed at night understanding that they now have access to health care. A lot of people may not know this and talk about it, but in this state, for the first time in our state's history, the first time in our history of this great state, everyone living in poverty now has access to health care through Medicaid. Never happened before under a Democrat nor a Republican governor. It's happened in this administration. We're going to care for the people who get it. On top of all that good news, one of the other big things out there is the unemployment rate in the state continues to be lower than the national average. In fact, it's more than 3 points lower than it was 4 years ago in 2010. We want to keep that unemployment rate going down and more people entering the workforce. That's why we're investing in worker training. You know, last year alone, we put more than $100 million into the education that's needed to help people get the skills they need for the jobs that are in high demand. And you know why? Because I want to make sure that everyone who wants a job can find a job. And the best way to do that is to give them the skills they need, not just to take a job, but a career that can care for themselves and their families. That's what we're dedicated to. Our vision going forward is pretty simple. We want to reduce our dependence on government and increase our dependence on hard work and pride. It's pretty simple, right? Reduce our dependence on government and increase our dependence on hard work and pride. That's real progress. And you know, over the past couple of years, we've had to make some pretty tough decisions. But I'm here to tell you tonight, we should be happy. I'm happy to report that those hard decisions have paid off because of those changes, things are working again in this state, and Wisconsin is getting better. I see it every day. I see it as I travel the state from one end of this great state to the other. I see it as I travel and visit factories and farms and small businesses. We see it in hospitals and clinics and schools all across this great state, from big cities to small towns to suburbs and everywhere in between. I get to meet some amazing people who are doing incredible jobs in this state. People who show me, firsthand show me, that things are improving in our state. That's really important. It's much like Rebecca talked about 4 years ago when she made the decision to run for lieutenant governor. Tonette and I had a similar discussion 4 years ago when we got in the race for governor. You see, back at that time, the two of us were worried that our sons might grow up in a state that wouldn't be at least as great as the state we grew up in. That was a real possibility at that point. 4 years have gone by, and I'm proud to tell you tonight that because of the success of our reforms, I'm optimistic about the future. I believe there is real hope for the future of my sons and your sons and daughters, your grandsons and granddaughters all across the state. That's why we're here tonight. You see, it's not about a title. It's not about a position. It's not about whose name stands outside that door when you go into the Capitol door office in the East Wing. What it's really all about is about the future. And that's why tonight I'm asking for your vote again, so that every other son and daughter, every grandson and granddaughter in this state can grow up in a state that's not just as great, but is greater than the Wisconsin that we grew up in.
Yeah.
That's what makes the long hours worth it. That's what makes the abuse and all the other things along the way. That is what makes all of you working together so worth this process. Because for us, I know with your help, we can do it.
Yes!
With your help, there is no doubt, working together, we can continue to move Wisconsin forward. With your help, we can show not just the people of the state, but people all across America that Wisconsin's back on. Thank you for being here tonight.